An Indigo flight operating on the Delhi-Srinagar route on Wednesday encountered severe turbulence and hailstorm conditions mid-air. Those images, remember, had gone completely viral, just speaking volumes of the trauma and panic situation that the passengers unfortunately found themselves in. Sources have told us that the pilot had initially sought permission from the Lahore Air Traffic Control to briefly enter Pakistan airspace to avoid turbulence. According to our sources, the pilot sought permission to divert just slightly into Pakistani airspace to avoid turbulent weather system. However, the request was rejected, forcing the aircraft to stay on its original flight path, where it encountered intense turbulence and a sudden hailstorm. The incident prompted the pilot to declare an emergency to Srinagar Air Traffic Control. In spite of the challenges, the flight landed safely at the Srinagar airport. Over 200 passengers, including members of parliament from the TMC, were on board this flight. Passengers reported moments of panic during the ordeal, with many resorting to prayers as the aircraft was buffeted by the storm. Unfortunately, all passengers and crew were unharmed. However, the aircraft's nose sustained significant damage. We'll put out that image for you in a second from now. A Directorate General of Civil Aviation, meanwhile, has now launched an investigation into this incident to assess the sequence. That's the image on your screen, the manner in which the aircraft was damaged. All right, we were telling you about the fact that there's going to be a detailed investigation into this incident to assess the sequence of events and determine whether protocol was followed. I'm going straight across to Karishma. For more details on that story, my colleague joining in this morning again from Business Today Television. Karishma, huge concern here, given that a basic request to enter the Pakistan, airspace just for some time, maybe a few minutes, to spare that horror, really, to the passengers who went through that turbulence, was denied. Give us a sense of how the government is looking into it, and in days and weeks to come, how can this be negotiated?
Yeah, the DGCA is already investigating
Right.
this matter in terms of why did such a situation occur. The fact that this is also by a natural calamity is something that the airline cannot do much about. Indigo has not commented yet on the fact that was there a denial by Lahore Air Controller to take the flight via Pakistan airspace. And the big question is, could that have saved us from the trauma that the 220 passengers who were on board have gone through? Now, let's look at the legal aspect of this. If the Lahore Air Controller has genuinely not allowed the pilot from Indigo Airlines to take his emergency request, then this could be challenged in the Chicago Convention international aviation law. If you see, the safety clause comes from Annex 11 and 14 of the convention, which covers air traffic services and aerodrome operations respectively. And India and Pakistan both are a part of this convention. Now, as per this convention and the safety clauses, in emergency situations, including medical emergencies or safety threats, which include severe turbulence, technical failure, or fuel shortage, states are expected to permit emergency landings regardless of political disputes. So while the convention does acknowledge the fact that airspace ban due to military concerns is allowed, it also, through its safety clause, does allow the states to come on a mutual cooperation. So the point to look at it, if DGCA would like to challenge this, if they would like to go and challenge this at ICAO, or if they'd like to take up the convention and question Pakistan, that was it fair for them to do this?
All right, I'm going to leave it at that, Karishma, getting in those details. The safety of civilians, unfortunately, was of zero concern to a neighboring country. Pakistan, with entry into their airspace, would have certainly spared that horror that passengers had to go through, but Pakistan refused to allow the civil aircraft to enter their airspace. Well, that really sums up the country's attitude towards civilians.